So good morning, one and all present here. Welcome to the class on investment management. So we finished discussing all the problems of the year 2020, which came for your senior. So we have done already the question paper of 17, 18, and 19 already for the VTU. So few of the questions which were left to be done. So like this is question number one, part C. So this question I found, so let's do this problem. So for the data given below, prepare the price weighted, equally weighted and the value weighted index. So data is given to us. Let's try to do this problem. So basically, before I do the problem, let's talk a little bit about indexes. I I believe last semester in statistics, I don't think you studied indexes. I'm not sure about that part, that we discussed indexes or not. But if, I believe in UPU definitely would have studied index number. So when we talk about index number, an index number is altogether a comparison of many commodities which is put together in a basket. And that comparison, what we do, we basically look into the data, the historical data of the prices of these commodities, and we compare that value with respect to the base date value with respect to the current date value. That is what we do when we talk about index number. An index number can be price index number, it can be value index number, it can be quantity index number. So in that, if you remember what we studied in statistics, different types of index numbers are there. Either it's a Lesperus index number or Parshay or Dorbis-Bowley or Marshall Edworth Fisher ideal index number. Different types of index numbers are there. If you have studied index number in the past, definitely you would correlate what I'm talking about here. So why we are discussing here? Because everything when we talk about macroeconomics, all our comparison, what we do, that is done basically working on index number only. So when we do these forms of comparison, here what is important parameter to go through is how that will help us decision making ability. So when we do discuss about index number, when we discuss about the different methods for the working on index number, we use the application of index number in the calculation of inflation data, either through WPI index methodology or by using CPI index methodology. When we try to calculate the inflation data, when we use the same thing to calculate the value of Nifty, or we use the same thing to calculate the value of Sensex. So there, what we are using, we are actually using the concept of index number. So, so when we have understood the concept of index number, when we are trying to use the same thing on indexes, so there are different stock exchanges all around the world. Few stock exchanges follow only price weightage index mechanism. So like Dow Jones is there, Nikkei 225 is there. So they follow only price weightage index methodology. They follow only price weightage index methodology. They only follow price weighted index number. They follow only price weighted index number. So in the case of price weighted index number, they only look into one parameter called price, and they calculate the sum of price. They calculate the sum of price for the base year. So whichever the year that we call as a base year, then they do the sum of price for the current year, and then they calculate the index. So the index number, they calculate the index value, that is sum of P1 by sum of P naught into 100. So like index like Dow Jones, Nikkei 225, they only look into one parameter, that is called price. The what is the underlying price of the basket of the commodities which is being considered for the calculation of index. Here, like different index follow different commodities altogether. Like in Nikkei 225, there are total 225. There are 225 stocks are there, which is being considered to be the part of the portfolio. In case of Dow Jones, 30 stocks are there. In case of Nifty, Sensex, we have 50 and 30 companies are there. So different index have different numbers of units under the basket. Here for the time being, just for basic understanding, only three stocks are given. So we'll only consider these three stocks. So we need to prepare index, which can be either price weighted index or equally weighted index and value weighted index. So three things we have to do for the data which we can see on the screen. Question number one, part C. Three stocks are given to us and their prices are given. So price at the end of base year, price at the end of year T, number of outstanding share. So whenever we do the calculation of index number, we basically do analysis of the set of data on two different time periods. So the individual units in that set of data can or cannot be same or different. So it depends on different factors. So here when we look into the index calculation, here when I'm talking about the price index methodology, so here we only look into the price. So the price at the end of base year, the price at the end of current year. Now the question is, what is base year? So base year is basically a year which is basically is assumed to be the point from which we are doing our calculation. So whenever we try to write the data in the form of index, so there's a year on a particular date of a year is considered as a base year, and then the values are recorded on that particular base year, and then the same value is being compared on different time period. So maybe after 6 months, maybe after 1 year, maybe after 2 years, maybe after 10 days, doesn't matter. That base value remain the constant. We use them as the basis of comparison where the analysis part can be done for us. So that is called a base year. So here you can see. So this is a price weighted index number. Here we only consider one factor, that is the price. So they are indexes, stock market indexes like Dow Jones, industrial average, like Nikkei 225. It is an index. It is Japanese stock exchange. So let's talk about the same question. Let's talk about these calculation: price weighted, equally weighted, and the value weighted indexes. Okay, everyone. T script A, B, C. Three scripts are given: A, B, and C. Price at the end of base year. So if I'm using price weighted index number, then I only consider one factor, that is the price. Okay, so this is the price weighted index number. So the price weighted index number. So here we will consider only one factor, that is the price. So do the sum. Do the sum. So do the sum. So now the price weighted index number would be how much? So the what is the formula of price weighted index number? The formula of price weighted index number. So the formula of price weighted index number. The formula of this is sum of P1 by sum of P naught into 100. Here we only consider one factor called price. This is 196 divided by 179 into 100. So the index value you get is 109.497. Done everyone. This is a price weighted index number. Anyone, any doubt? So they are indexes like Dow Jones, Nikkei 225. They follow price weighted index number. So they're least bothered about the number of shares, how much they're trading, what is the liquidity of the shares. All that is not relevant when we discuss the price weighted index number. Okay, then the next thing, equally weighted index. So when we talk about equally weighted index, now we'll talk about the equally weighted index. So in case of equally weighted index, we give equal weightage to all the stocks in the portfolio. So when we talk about equally weighted index, so the formula for this is sum of P1 by P naught into 100 by N. This is the formula. This is the formula of equally weighted index. Those who study statistics, this is the formula of simple relative price method. In your statistics, you must have studied about this in your PU and all. So equally weighted index. This we have to study here. So many books they write this as sum of P. They write this as one sum of P by N, where P is equal to P1 by P naught into 100. Okay, well, so find P. So first find the P. So equally weighted index. Find this 60 divided by 54. Everyone do this, so you can multiply this with 100. So once you get this sum of P, you have to find the sum. This is the sum of P by N. So what is the index value? Index index value this is the index value of equally weighted index. Clear? Any doubt? Anyone? Any doubt? Done, everyone? So equally weight. This all we have done in statistics. So when we talk about index number, what are the methods of calculating index number? Either we follow simple method or we follow weighted method. In simple method, two types are there: simple aggregate or simple relative. So this what you see, this price weighted index number. So that is example of simple aggregate, and this is the example of simple relative. Equally weighted index, that is example of simple relative. Everyone okay? Now going further. Number of outstanding share. So now the third thing what we are going to study. So we studied price weighted, we studied equally weighted. Now the third thing is value weighted. So value weighted indices. So when we talk about value weighted indices, how to do that? this is value weighted index. So when we talk about value weighted index, so what we have to do, we have to find the market capitalization, understand what we do in India. In India, when we talk about the index in India, so either you talk about Nifty or either you talk about Sensex. So in Nifty or Sensex, what you see, Nifty or Sensex, our indexes, what you see, they follow a free float in our country. The index, what you see, they follow free float market capitalization. They follow free float market capitalization. They follow free float market capitalization in our country. In other, all the indexes more or less what we see, they follow free float market capitalization. While the when we say index, while when we say value index is nothing but they actually talking about value index about market capitalization index. Whenever I'm using value index means other way, they're talking about market capitalization index. Okay, normally in India we follow free float market capitalization index. Okay, so what is market capitalization? You can understand market capitalization. What do you mean by market capitalization? When we use the word market capitalization, the meaning of the word market capitalization, it means market price per share. It means market price per share. It means market price per share. It means market price per share into number of share outstanding, into number of shares outstanding, into number of shares outstanding. So that basically means market capitalization. Market capitalization basically means what market capitalization means, the value of the company, what in the market, what is the value of the company. So that depends upon what is the market price of one share, at one share, how much that one share is trading in the market, and then how many shares you have in the market. That ultimately gives you something called market capitalization. So when you see that in term of market capitalization, the number one company in India is Reliance Industries. Okay, number two sometime is Infosys, sometime in HDFC Bank. So it keeps changing number two company, but number one company is right in India is always Reliance Industries. So market capitalization basically works once the company have done the IPO or right issue or they have done FPO. So in the through primary market, the number of shares what the company have diluted in the market, that number of shares which is used for the trading purpose, then that when we multiply that with the value of one share in the market, that gives the market capitalization of the company. But what happens, there are many ways are there through which you can artificially try to affect the price of the stock. So you know that ultimately the price of stock gets changed because of demand and supply. So the difference which can arise between demand and supply is called bid ask spread, and or that is also called the impact cost. So the traders, they trade in the market, they buy and they sell. So everyone want to buy at the lowest price and everyone want to sell at the highest price. So as an investor, what we want, we want our we want uh, we as an investor, what we want that when we are buying the stock, we should buy at the lowest price, and when we are selling the stock, we should sell at the highest price. So the difference which arise between the bid quote and the ask quote, the best bid quote and best ask quote, that is called a bid ask spread. So best bid price means the highest of all the bid, and best ask price means the lowest of all the ask. The difference between them is called spread. Okay, so bid ask spread basically talks about the liquidity of the stock. To measure the liquidity of the stock, the bid ask spread of the company. Like same like the bid ask spread, many times we use many times instead of bid ask spread, many times we use impact cost. So impact cost in order to calculate the impact cost, what we do, we record every day historical data of the trading of each company 4 times in a day, and then the same data is collected for the last 6 months, and then out of all the bids, we take the best bid, which is the highest of all, and out of all the ask which is being asked for the 6 month, where the data is taken 4 times with a minimum interval of 10 minutes. So the lowest of all ask is called best ask price, and then what we do, we find the average price, which is nothing but which is the average of best bid and best ask, and then that value is compared with the which the actual trading happens in the market, and the percentage difference what we get there, that is called the impact cost. The impact cost is the extra cost which you need to pay for the liquidity of the stock. So liquidity of the stock is very important when the stock is trading in the market. So many times, as an company, what many company basically do, they perform such kind of trading in the market many times, where thereby they try to reduce the number of outstanding shares. So the outstanding shares which are basically are there for the general public to trade, so in reality, they may or may not be the same number of shares which are being diluted. It can be few people are were not used those stocks for the trading purpose. They may have invested their money on those stocks for long-term origin. Okay, and thereby they are not interested to be the part of the trading exposure, because trading is a short-term phenomena, while there are many people who look for investment purpose. And like that, there are a lot of private equity companies are there, a lot of hedge funds kind of companies are there. They may take away a huge sum of investment to be done on one company, and thereby the threat of the company would be in big problem. So number of share outstanding is very important whenever we talk about the liquidity of the stock. So if the number of shares are less, automatically there will be more demand than supply, and then automatically the price will go down. So it's very important that we should have appropriate liquidity of the stock in the market. To measure that, we need to have an impact cost. That's why what we do, once the market capitalization of the company is determined, we multiply it with free float factor. We multiply it with free float factor, where free float factor basically, what do you mean by free float factor? Free float factor is basically, it is the number of shares. It is the number of shares with non-promoter. So free float factor is basically, it is a fraction you will get between 0 to 1, which talks about the number of shares with non-promoter, the number of shares with non-promoter means general public, retail customer or HNI, the number of shares with non-promoter divide by the total number of outstanding share, divide by the total number of outstanding share, divide by the total number of outstanding shares. Outstanding shares means total number of shares which they have diluted in the market. This you divide with numerator, where the numerator is basically the number of shares which are liquid in nature. So the free float factor, which gives you value between 0 to 1. The purpose of multiplying it with the market capitalization is to realize the marketing, is to realize the what you say, the marketing of the shares which can be done, so that their price always go to the appropriate level. Artificial ups and down cannot be maintained on the share price. So when you see this free float market capitalization, so this free float market capitalization, that index methodology is being followed by many indexes around the world. Okay, so value index basically means market capitalization. So here what I can do, I can find the market capitalization. I can find the market capitalization of base year. I can find the market capitalization of the current year. You got the market capitalization of base year, you got the market capitalization of the current year. What you do the sum of this. Do the sum of that. Now what is the value of index? Now what is the value of index? So the value of index, what you will get is the value of index. What you will get would be what that would be the market capitalization of current year. That would be a market capitalization of current year. That would be the market capitalization of current year divided by the market capitalization of base year in 200. So this is like this is the value of the index 109.489. Very easy. Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? So it is very important because see, understand Indian financial market is not so big, not so strong. Hardly 4 or 5% of Indian citizens they normally invest in the money market or they invest in the mutual funds. So when we see all together in Indian economy, and so more or less there are millions of companies who have done the IPOs in the past, and once they have done the IPOs in the past, what these companies need to do, they need to put themselves on the stock exchanges. So when these millions of companies are trading, then in order to understand altogether the Indian economy, the way the Indian stock market or Indian economy is performing, we look into the Nifty or Sensex. Nifty and Sensex are from they does not tell you the actual story. They are simply the representation of the market. So they are simply the representation of the market. So because they are simply the representation of the market, so in order to understand the market microeconomically, we cannot study everything. So in statistics, if you remember, we talked about in statistics we talked about two forms of statistics, either descriptive statistics or inferential statistics. So when working on descriptive statistics is not possible, then we work on inferential statistics. Means we consider the samples, and by looking at the sample altogether, we try to understand the population. The same thing what we do here. So whenever we talk about the stock exchanges, so there are billions of companies are trading. These companies they belong to different sector. These companies they have different market capitalization. So but when it comes to the comparison of Indian stock market with any other foreign country stock exchanges, so on what parameters we can do these comparison? So there are certain sample of stocks which is considered to be the best performing stock from their sectors. These stocks when they are put together, so their number can be 30 or 50, and then analyzing them will ultimately talks about the value of the Indian stock market. So for Nifty, when we analyze, we have a portfolio of 50 companies, and when we talk about Sensex, we have a portfolio of 30 companies. Okay, so we follow the index number calculation here. So we follow index number calculation there to understand their movement. So whenever we talk about the movement, so they are they are samples. So those samples are basically the stocks which had done the IPO. So these companies who have done the IPO, who are the best performing stocks from the sectors, we look into them, and when we look into them, we try to analyze what are all the parameters which ultimately talks about the breadth of the market. So it cannot only the price of the stock. Along with the price of the stock, we need to look into the number of shares also which are trading in the market. So till now we only used to look into the price stock and number of shares which are trading in the market. And when we used to multiply them, we used to get the market capitalization of the company. So till now, we used to consider market capitalization of the base year of all the companies and the market capitalization of the current year of all the companies. And then we used to analyze them and used to find the index value. But it was being noticed after in the case of Satyam, or in the case of many company which got bankrupt in the past, it is being realized that many promoters, many promoters, what they did, uh, these companies promoters, when their companies started facing problems, they pledged their shares, those shares which were there with promoters, they pledged these shares in the banks to get the loan, to get money from the market with either some brokerage house or with the bank. These shares were being pledged. With that, it could be easily understand this, that those shares cannot be the part of trading process. And because automatically, if the shares does not become the part of the uh, trading purpose, then automatically the total number of shares which are available for trading, automatically the number will become less. And if the number will become less, automatically you can understand demand and supply. It is a game of demand supply. So if artificially, because of whatever reason, either because of pledging of shares, or either because of any other activity, it can be found out that the appropriate number of shares which are not, they are not actually being used for the trading purpose, and that will create undue advantage whenever anyone bid or put a ask for. And then either is a buyer or seller, because of the inappropriate liquidity of the stock, they end up in paying more money, which shows that the impact cost or the bid ask spread of a particular stock is crossing a certain threshold limit, and then that stock cannot be considered for the trading purpose. So to analyze the factor of liquidity, a third parameter is being figured out, which is called as free float factor. So where the free float factor is nothing but it is a fraction which gives a value between 0 to 1, which basically talks about the liquidity of the stock. So so nowadays, whenever we talk about the value index, so we basically calculate value index as a free float market capitalization value index. So which altogether consider the liquidity of the stock, it consider the stock is trading, it consider the number of stocks which are available for the trading purpose. So that is how the indexes altogether in the world works. So anyone have any doubt, any question you want to ask? Any question, anyone? So we talked about the price weighted index number. So this is the formula for the price weighted index number. This is the formula for the price weighted index number. Okay, so the index like Dow Jones, Nifty 225, they follow price weighted index number. Then this is equally weighted index number. This is called price relative. This is called price relative. So this is called price relative, and this is the formula for that. You want, this is the formula for the equally weighted index. This is the formula for that. And then after that we have value weighted index. Then we have value weighted index, and we can use this as a formula. This is called index value. So Anyone, any question you want to ask?